So those listeners in Decentraland, we hope we bring you a good show. We're gonna be talking about a couple of things on the docket today. First up, oh yeah, man.
So,
So we did an interview with the Lao recently, actually a
mhm.
couple of days ago, and I
Yesterday.
completely
Really?
yeah, was it yesterday?
It
Yeah.
was yesterday, dude.
Damn,
Come
man, I
on, man.
completely
Get a grip,
screwed
Will.
up, man. I messed up so bad. What happened was I hit the record and I was recording, the screen,
Oh no.
but I was recording the wrong screen the whole time. So while we're
Oh.
having a good conversation on my 4K monitor, I was recording my desktop, which is just like my email for an hour and a half. So, but I got good audio, so I want to apologize
Okay.
to Pre. That was like totally mistake. So apologies, and we'll figure out some way to make it up.
Yeah.
Was it a good conversation though? Like,
Yeah,
did
it
you
was good.
guys?
Man, it was a good conversation. Like we were talking about the Lao and how it could apply to Decentraland,
Hmm.
and it was good. I mean, they're going to launch on Tuesday, and what it is it's a venture capital, sort of like implementation. So they raise funds from investors throughout the world. And of course, each investor still has to be an accredited investor. So that's a million net worth and all that stuff. So most of us
Oh,
probably can't, be an investor. So, but
wait. So you can't make your own Lao kind of thing?
so that's one of the
Integrate.
things that we brought up. But for what they have now ready right now is they're going to create this fund from accredited investors, and then projects like projects as small as MetaZone to anything. It doesn't even have to be a
Mhm.
crypto project. You can propose to the Lao for an investment, and they're leaving it open to whatever it looks like. It could be a video. It could be anything really. And so you propose, and then the 100 members of the Lao get together, and they vote on what should get funded, and that's how it goes. And so that's launching on Tuesday, this coming Tuesday. And then one of the other questions that we asked was like, how do we take the mechanisms of the Lao and apply it to an existing DAO with already an existing fund? And so that's probably not ready, so to speak. But it's definitely possible. And I actually sent that article that Hyman found to I think it was Augustine and Toonpunk, and they pretty much said what I expected them to say is like, if the community agrees, then yeah, you could
Mhm.
implement the Lao, with the existing funds. So it's really up to us to really kind of hash out like, and again, we like the Lao because it's sustainable funds for an indefinite amount of time for Decentraland, right? So it's not only 10 years; it could be 50 years, right? If we do
Mhm.
this right. So that's why we like it.
Is there a minimum investment per project with that, or can it be like different amounts for every project, or does it have to be like the same and equally distributed when you
No,
start
it's
investing and stuff?
it's completely up to you how much you want to invest in
How
a
much you
particular.
request? Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
it'll be like any other like pitch proposal. Like you have an idea or a product you want to pitch to an investment
Hmm.
partner.
Right.
You have to have a pitch deck. Really, it's completely up to the proposer how they want to propose their
Right.
project. There's no set in stone guidelines yet. But I assume it's gonna be
Yeah.
like there's gonna be like you gotta have a white paper, you gotta have a pitch deck. We
Of course.
I even threw the idea out to her of kind of like using Crypto Valley and Decentraland is kind of like part of the application process, maybe
Hmm.
where people are gonna have to actually come and virtually present their
Mm-hmm.
ideas
Yeah.
in Decentraland. I think she really liked that idea. She
Yeah, I'd like
really,
that idea actually, like the 3D model presentation thing. Like
Yeah.
you
yeah,
would set up, all right, this is an idea we want to put together. Here's a whole like area where this is kind of what we're talking about.
yeah, we already have like all the venues built out already in Crypto Valley. Like it's perfect. It's just a
Yeah.
matter of whether or not they want to execute on that. She said they're open to any ideas, and at the end of the day, it's up to the 100 members of the Lao to
Yeah.
decide, what the procedures are actually going to be. That's kind of like that's the key. I don't know what to call it, but that's what I'm observing from like all these interviews we've been doing, including the Decentraland team and now the Lao. Like all these questions I always have are always like unanswered because the universal answer is always like, we'll see, we'll let the DAO figure that out. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like a huge unexplained gray area that we haven't figured out as a crypto community, how the governing is going to actually work. So in our case, it's up to groups like this who are actually like engaged in the Decentraland community to figure out how we're going to manage these funds that we have at our disposal. It's not something we can go to the Decentraland team and be like, hey, what do we do?
Correct.
Because they're going to tell us exactly what they told Will, like, hey, that's not our business. Those aren't our funds. That's your funds. That's up to you guys to figure out what to do with.
That's right.
So that's why we keep bringing this up. In other words, it's not the most fun and interesting topic. It's like finances and governance. Like it's just boring as fuck. But it's probably the most important stuff to talk about.
Yeah, and again, like if we can sustain those funds, I think that's the right path. Now, that doesn't mean that we have to allocate 100% of the funds for like sustainable growth, right? Like a company would be focused on getting profits, right? But maybe a good proportion of it is for sustainable growth. So, so what do you think, boss, on that concept of like sustainability for the actual DAO itself?
I think that's pretty solid idea. Like you guys said, I think it's you can really choose like what type of like thesis that you want. Are you kind of asking just in terms of just wow?
Yeah. Like, do you have like another perspective on how we should manage the DAO funds?
Yeah, it's kind of interesting because in terms of the DAO, I think they're not really profit oriented, right? It's more about like growth and giving users what the the right builds to send the community. So I feel like in terms of managing those funds, obviously some will be profit oriented, but a lot of them will just be growth oriented. But in terms of the Lao, that's more profit driven, right? Because obviously those accredited investors want a return, right? Okay. Okay. I mean, in that case, I guess like the DAO just needs to kind of figure out, I guess by voting what kind of thesis it's going to have, and that I guess we'll find out once it's live. Because the DAO could make money too. I mean, if you wanted to have the DAO give funds to a project that wanted more profit driven, such as Decentral Games or something, like obviously that like if that was the case, then we could potentially contribute some more additional funds in the future, hopefully to the DAO.
Yeah,
exactly.
That's what I was.
But then again,
too.
Obviously, like there's other things that other things that are more important, obviously, than profit. I think at this point, just because the world is like in its infancy, and I think growth is a lot more important right now.
Hey, Maddie, what are your thoughts? I think you might have like a differing opinion on like profits and all that stuff. What do you think?
With the DAO?
Yeah, with the DAO.
It's a good. I think right now, if you kind of filter that out in terms of if you start filtering out which proposals are going to make money for the DAO, you're going to filter out too many.
Yeah.
Because right now we're content starved. So anything that is going to make good content, any interactivity, we should fund as long as we're not draining it too bad. But, in the next 3 to 4 years, once we start to see some really good businesses and some really good projects, and we know people are doing great things, then we can move in that direction. But I think in the immediate term, in the first like 1 to 2 years, it should just be driven to who's going to make great content that the community is going to enjoy. Because monetization brings a whole different element of how you build the scene. And fun stuff sometimes just can't be monetized.
Yeah,
that's just the model it is. You just jump in and you view it for free. And we're going to miss out on those things if we're only funding the,
one of the things I kind of discovered was maybe the funding from the DAO is not going to be enough to build like really large projects, just because if you hire like one or two developers, I mean, those guys are expensive. And if you're just hiring them just to build, something to deploy on Decentraland, and they're not owners of that build, then you got to pay them like the going rate for a developer, right? Unless they're your brother or your friend or anything like that. Like, so you have to pay them the going rate, and their going rate is probably a lot more expensive than what a DAO or a grant could provide. And so that's why I sort of think about these things, that, maybe the grants could be larger because the DAO is expecting some sort of return because the idea is good enough and passes all these metrics that we set up or whatever. But that's sort of how I'm thinking about these, just because, to develop anything interesting, you need a real developer, and it's just expensive. So that's how
but can you imagine mana worth like 10 to 15 cents?
Yeah, no, that's different. Yeah.
Then you're looking at 3 to 4 mil per year.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean,
that's
our job.
I think that's how the team looks at it too.
Yeah, I agree with that. That there's another route we could decide to take, meaning like where we're kind of ultra conservative with the funds, meaning we try our best not to spend any of it, and more like focus on increasing the value of mana itself, because all of a sudden the funding source just becomes stronger and stronger over time. Then our options broaden a little bit more, how we can spend it. Because right now, if all of a sudden we decided to, go all out and fund as many projects as we can in today's climate, we dry up real quick.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because there's not as much.
Yeah, and one of the ways the team has proposed in the past is burning some of the mana. So for every single transaction that occurs, a percentage of it gets burnt. And so if there's less in circulation, the more the value increases, right? So at least that's one way that we could think about, implementing anything really. And that's one of the things that we've considered too for MetaZone, is that maybe a percentage of it should get burnt for every single transaction that occurs. And so, I mean, that's always an option.
Does it have to be used by it? I mean, the DAO, does it have to be used to create content and stuff? Like, could we put a vote up and say like, all right, let's bring in some DJ. Let's hire Diplo to come in and perform for like a 30-minute set. Can we just spend like $2K on? I mean, there's a lot of artists out there that are losing a ton of money right now, where if you tell them go to this link and play a live set for 20 minutes and we'll give you like $1,500 or something like that, like it could also be used for that. And then, I mean, you're kind of saving money. You're not putting, 30K or 30,000 USD into a project that might fail. I mean, you're getting an instant return from it. I don't know how likely that is.
It's almost Go ahead.
Hold on. Yeah, no, I just wanted to, speaking of that, now like the casino just put up that the stage, right? The big huge stage, and that's the perfect setting. You know what I'm saying, for something like that, because it gives you that feel. You know what I mean? So I think that, we probably should work on doing something like that there if we have it already set up.
Yeah, for sure.
I like that. What you're saying, Anorak, is completely true. It's not all about just funding projects, this DAO fund. Yeah, we have to also decide like how we're going to allocate those funds for, like you're speaking more of like marketing or like economic stimulus proposals, things like that, where we just host these giant events.
Just user growth too. I mean, because you can pay someone all the money in the world to build something, but if they're not passionate about the build and stuff, like it's not going to show. If they're not passionate, or it's not going to show, they're not passionate about Decentraland and stuff, and they don't understand like the roadmap of everything and kind of like the goals of the project. Like they might come to market with something, but it might be totally obsolete for like what we need in Decentraland right now. Like you're not really guaranteeing that there's going to be something that has a use case. There just might be something where you could get more out of it if you spend on like entertainment stuff for the users we have now. But that's just me as someone who's not into building and everything like that, thinking about it from a different angle.
Yeah, one of the things that I worry about in that approach, and it's only early on, is the leaky bucket, in the sense that we might be able to host a big concert, and everybody comes, they enjoy it, but there's no other reason to stick around for the most part.
Of course.
And so that's sort of I guess the team is also trying to avoid in the sense with the social aspect of Decentraland, with the updates to the map and then friends list and all that stuff, which will help. And that's why I focus on creation, just because I feel like if the builds are there, then people will want to stick around. But in the concerts, I actually haven't really thought about, funding a concert, which I think is brilliant.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can just go a lot of routes with that. And you can even use the DAO to, let's say, purchase a piece of land for some company or some streamer to come and mess around on and do a big live stream or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's stuff there that it just doesn't have to be for content builds. I just wanted to chime in on that a little bit. Not to go too far down the rabbit hole. I understand we're still 2 years out on anything like that, but just something else to think about with use cases for the DAO.
No, absolutely. Frankie, you want to talk about the what you have on your land here with all these pictures?
Oh yeah, we got the meme contest going on. So me and Maddie were joking a couple of days ago, in the chat, and I don't know how that came up, Maddie. How you started sending pictures of people with their face cut out, and I just started doing it in Blender, and then we just started having fun with it. Next thing you know, we got this. It was like a rubber band ball, Just started building it up, and next thing you know, we got this thing going on, and Maddie, kind of created the contest, and it's,
Will came up with the idea.
Honestly, I never knew where the idea came from. I just started making memes
wait, who was it?
Holes in walls, but it's fun,
Yeah, right now I'm sharing an image in the Decentraland Discord so more people come to the land. But yeah, man, I guess the initial idea was to take a bunch of memes, post them up on the world, and have people take selfies with them. So that way we have some sort of social media sharing, and those who the image that gets shared the most would win, something, some mana or an NFT or whatever.
And also for me, it was more of a concept of doing something free that's fun that people would just go and do, and just try to make a little bit of some noise, just out of almost nothing, basically.
Yeah.
And it didn't take much to build those. I'm not a genius builder, I just cut some holes in some walls, and next thing you know, we got some fun, It was cool.
No,
it shows that you can pretty much run any type of contest. We just thought about this out of nowhere.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be in Decentraland. The contest is really on Twitter. That's
right.
That's something I've been trying to I don't know, advocate for a little bit. It's kind of bringing our Discord community, because we really have this whole society going on in the Discord, and bringing it out now somewhere else. All right, let's do a contest on Twitter, and I seen a bunch of guys, even Clark Kent, making Twitter accounts based on their DCL characters. So it was DCL Kent, DCL this person, and who was it?
Jason,
I interviewed. I interviewed Scorpio the other day. He wanted nothing to do with social media, but since
he's on Twitter now,
he made it Twitter. He made it Twitter. DCL Scorpio. So I think that bringing the community out, outside, is going to be helpful. Because we already have one. So we already have a society, a little community society, whatever you want to call it, within our Discord, and then we start communicating elsewhere, and then now the public sees that, and then you get some tag-alongs. Hey,
yeah,
yeah, it's true, man. There's definitely a competitive vibe between the metaverses right now. I feel on Twitter. There's not. You know what I mean? It's
don't hang out for too long. That's the whole thing about Twitter. Don't hang out for too long, man.
I don't think it's become malicious in any way. It's just kind of every Somnia Space, Crypto Voxels, they're putting out their communities are putting out so much content.
Oh yeah, because they're probably just like us.
Yeah, they're all equally motivated and passionate about their own universe, right? And they want to kind of flex in a way, look, we're better than you guys. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we're all just trying to make our exes jealous on Twitter with all of our stuff right now.
A little bit.
Putting out cool scenes and everything, and look at how many people we got here and this and that. But that's good. We're all going to be like
competition's healthy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I wonder, how do we determine a winner? What's the deciding factor?
For
this
the
one,
meme or
the
the
meme
metaverse?
contest.
No, I'm saying
Also-
for the metaverses. Like, how do you know who's gonna win? Like, what's the metric?
Oh, I don't know.
Just user base, like daily DAU. Is that really the horse right now?
I don't know. I mean, I don't like the
Think of
idea
something
of a
that can't
winner.
be gamified.
I honestly don't like the idea of a winner of the metaverses. You know, like,
Yeah.
can we coexist? Can y'all be like
Oh, we can
Venus
definitely
or be like
coexist.
Jupiter or something? You know, something like that.
It's like you see, you guys ever seen Anchorman 2 where they all square off in the parking lot?
Mhm,
All
yeah.
the different news stations square off and just sprawl in the one parking lot.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a classic scene.
Yeah.
So funny.
No, I don't know if there's going to be a single winner. I think there's too many people right now that are so entrenched in their own
In
projects.
their own,
Yeah,
absolutely.
that
Yeah.
it's going to be years until people really give up and move on to something else.
Like, I could
Yeah,
never
well,
see
each
myself
one kind of just
building
serves its
in the other
own
one. You know.
niche. Yeah.
Yeah,
Each one
yeah,
serves its own
you're
niche,
right.
and I feel like Decentraland's real focus is the decentralization aspect, and
Mhm.
and I think that's kind of the reason why all of us are involved like so heavily in
Yeah,
it.
definitely.
So I mean, obviously, we're bullish on that being the one of the major differentiating factors that makes it stick around. But I mean,
Have you checked out the others?
obviously, these other I have, yeah, a little bit, not like considerably, but I mean, mostly just crypto voxels and Ethereum.
Mhm.
And yeah, they each one has its own strong points, but like for me, what we're doing at Decentral Games, I feel like Decentraland just makes the most sense because we need a decentralized base to build on.
Definitely.
And
definitely.
I think it would be great if we had VR. Obviously, that's something that we really would want. But Somnium for us was just too centralized at the moment. I know they have plans for decentralization, but it's definitely a lot easier said than done. So it's going to be interesting to see how they go about that. And then obviously for crypto voxels, like it doesn't have as much complex scripting possibilities with crypto voxels. So, but yeah,
What's the challenges for you if you were to do your casino business in Somnium space or some centralized place? Can that be done?
I spoke with Artur. I asked him, and yeah. So I hit up Artur like a while ago, actually, right like when they're doing one of their first auctions, and so I was curious of the prospects of that. And he just pretty much told me straight up that it's going to be illegal. And I was like, okay, well, that's not going to work, So, but I actually spoke with him recently.
What aspect of that is illegal?
That's going to be illegal. So,
he didn't say specifically what would cause it to be illegal, but he said it would be, and he said it was because, they just have rules that they have to follow, and I think it's because that they're tied to the jurisdiction where they're based out of.
Yeah.
So whereas Decentraland, obviously, we're hosting a node, other people are hosting a node, so the base is decentralized and not really tied to any specific jurisdiction's legislation. So I don't know exactly what his plans are to decentralize it, but if that's the case, it's supposed to be like by Q4 this year. But obviously that stuff usually takes longer than expected, as is with anything in software. So I feel like
I don't know.
I'm open to exploring it, but as of now we're just focused on Decentraland.
I don't think everything needs to be decentralized.
Yeah. Sorry, what are you saying?
No, I was just saying I don't think everything needs to be decentralized. So I don't know if he's trying to do that just to like appease the crypto community, but not everything needs to be decentralized, right? Well, I mean, what do you guys think?
Right.
I agree.
You're saying Somnium space.
It just depends on what you're going after,
Yeah.
So if your community wants it to be decentralized, like if you're in those chats and if they're all calling for that, I mean,
I think in the blockchain space, your project's judged on how decentralized it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like everyone's just like, oh well, that's not decentralized. So,
but I don't see like need for Sandbox to be decentralized. Sandbox is not decentralized, right?
No. They'll never be decentralized.
And I wouldn't see no reason for it. It's just a game,
Yeah.
But then you would argue that people argue that Bitcoin is not decentralized anymore because we have China. I mean, but it is. I mean, if you take out China, I mean, Bitcoin is still going to survive, right?
Yeah.
It's just bigger opportunities for collusion, I guess, because it's all centralized in China. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So in essence, I think that's the biggest concern when it comes to like centralization versus decentralization. Like how much opportunity is there for collusion and nefarious attempts? All this 51% attacks and all this stuff they keep talking about.
Yeah,
which has happened in the past.
Yeah.
So it is something important to think about. Like certain platforms have been completely steamrolled by whales in the past. You know what I mean?
Steam.
Yeah, that's literally what I always think about every time. It could happen to Decentraland if we don't, play our cards right. If we don't figure out as a community how to prevent that from happening. So,
but you know what hit me recently, and it should have hit me a lot more recently. But the landowners, the district leads are going to have a lot of voting power because their lands are like 2,500 mana power each, and they've got some of them have 1,000. 500
they have control over all those as leads
at the moment, because it's all held in one wallet. And I think it's locked in that wallet for a certain amount of years, and then
I was gonna say I think those who contributed land for those districts, they have those landowners have some say, right? So just because there's one key holder for the entire district doesn't mean that's what the vote's gonna be.
But in terms of how it's recorded on the blockchain, all those lands exist in one person's wallet. I think the district leads ones, and I think they're locked in there for X amount of time until they're going to be allowed to distribute them. So I'm not sure exactly how it works.
That's true.
Currently,
I mean, what are you going to do?
It's more like a political game. It's more like making allies and trying to. Like at the moment, it seems like, you want to be on good terms, or you want to make sure that you know what page Vegas City and Etheria and China District are, because they're going to have a big voting. They're going to have a lot of weight.
That's true. I don't know what you can do about that, because I thought eventually that they would figure out some sort of way where the land contributors can have at least a say in what the vote is for a particular district, but technically it's not set up that way. So
not now, but I think eventually that's how it'll go.
Yeah.
In that direction. It depends on the proposals. It depends on which district proposed to give landowners complete control of the land, and which ones just said, we're going to do this floor plan across all of the lands in this district.
Yeah.
I think that's how it goes. Yeah.
That brings up sort of like Iman was talking about, like nefarious content, and I think, Boss, we were having this conversation in our Discord that I think you guys missed, where I was just like throwing out a thought experiment for gambling. And if you could gamble on, various lands, does that have an implication on like legalities, right? And I think that's when Clark Kent, by the way, I just got a message from Clark Kent that he's not going to be able to make it. He's like stuck doing something else.
He's lawyering.
Yeah, exactly. But
he's a lawyer, like that's
his
day profession.
He's a lawyer. Yeah.
Okay.
He's a copyright lawyer.
Yeah, it makes sense why he wrote such a ridiculously long proposal then.
That's right. Exactly.
You know what I mean? But I feel like that's going to start to become standard after a while. Like these governance proposals are going to become like legitimate legal documents over time.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, Scorpia's neighborhood project was like 14 pages.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
threw it like this. I was like, I might be down for that.
Yeah. So long, that brings up another a demand of responsibility for people like us who are engaged in these topics. Is like, imagine in the future where we're going to get daily proposals that are this complex. Like,
I'm going to need an assistant.
Yeah, that's a full-time gig right there, dude.
I'm going to need an assistant. I can't be looking at proposals all day.
Sure.
Yeah, so it's something to think about, as far as how much engagement is going to be required to actually make good, sound decisions. You know what I mean?
I think there needs to be a process to the proposals. So there should be like a format, literally one page. Give me a summary in one page, 10 dot points, what it is. And if we vote in that direction, then you can go and expand on a full-on proposal, because we're not reading 10 pages.
Like an abstract page.
I agree.
Yeah. I can't do it, man. I'm from marketing, and we're all about like 10-second absorption. If I can absorb, if I can't, I don't have the attention span unless I really force myself to read through every line. I cannot do it. It's very difficult.
No, I totally agree.
But in some cases, it's necessary. Like Clark's proposal, like I needed to know all those points. But I think it would have been good to at the start just dot point.
Yeah, the main
things,
the main idea. Yeah,
and then expand on them, because then I know exactly where to look at and feel a bit more structured.
I had to read that from start to end to understand what a Dutch auction was, and I cannot even repeat like the way it works. But I know it works. I'm like, oh, that looks good.
Yeah. That's how the second land sale was a Dutch auction.
Really? Okay.
Producer. Yeah.
So the price starts high, at like say 100,000 mana a pot, and it slowly creeps down until someone pulls the buy trigger. So you don't know when anyone's gonna buy it, and then it could come down to 30,000, and then someone buys it, and then if you were waiting on that, you miss out. There's no opportunity for a second bid.
So what happens to the land after that first sell? It starts at that previous sell point?
No, so it's just all of them are on a timer. So all the land is every single parcel is set for like, let's say 100K. If one parcel gets bought at 70K, it doesn't influence anything else. It just everything else just keeps dropping, which is what I brought up in I think our first Zoom call, which is during the second land auction, when the Decentraland team came in and scooped a bunch of land. Then everyone started panic buying, because when you start seeing like hundreds of parcels being bought for whatever price, you think everyone's going to start coming in and buying. So then everyone started buying at like, I think it was like 14K mana or something like that. But we touched on that in the first call. Go ahead.
Were they like the first Decentraland team was like the first one to pull the trigger on that?
No,
they weren't the first.
No. It was just like a massive amount of land bought at once. So then if you're sitting there watching the auction and everyone's just waiting there with their fingers on the keyboard for someone to buy, when you start seeing parcels flying off the market, then you're going to start buying.
This FOMO kicks in.
Oh, for sure.
That's interesting. So but the purpose of that is to find like pretty much like a consensus of valuation for the land, because nobody really knew what they were worth, right, in the beginning. So you just kind of
in the second auction.
Well, yeah, there was kind of one set. I think it worked better than the first land auction. The first land auction was like, if you got outbid on something, then your mana was locked up. So then you had to go and buy more to like up your bid. Like you couldn't like bid on one. You couldn't bid on one parcel and then turn around for 15. Let's say you have 15K mana. You couldn't bid 15K mana on one parcel and turn around and bid 15K mana on another. Like it was locked into that parcel, from what I believe, which is why everyone points to look at how expensive mana was way back when, but that's because everyone was panic buying because their mana was getting locked up, and they needed to be able to buy land. So
interesting.
I get it.
Which anyone feel free to jump in and correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, this is almost 2-3 years ago now.
I think you're the only one that was there during the first auction.
I didn't even buy land. I just bought mana and I just sat there and watched it because I didn't know anything.
Really?
I didn't know anything about. Yeah, I bought it during the second auction. I didn't buy it during the first one.
Okay.
I just sat there and watched it because I had no idea. I was in crypto for like a month and a half before the first land auction. Imagine getting into crypto and then a month and a half later buying virtual land. Like, there's no way I was making that leap. I just thought that, all right, cool, all this currency is going to be burnt and the price is going to go up. Which it did, but I really missed out big time not buying land.
What was the price back then? Do you remember?
Started at 1,000 mana per plot.
Gotcha.
It was the first auction.
Wow.
Yeah.
Most of them actually sold for 1,000 mana.
They did.
1,200.
You can,
exactly.
Which is what I don't like about this new marketplace. Is on the old land marketplace, you could click and you could see what it sold for, dating all the way back to that first land sale.
But you can still use the old marketplace.
Yeah, but it's still just like. I mean,
wait. On the new one, it doesn't have the auction history?
No.
Oh, really?
It only has it from like the
most recent,
from when they switched over to the new one. So if there's been a sale since the new marketplace came out, it's on there. But anything before is wiped.
I would hope that they. I'm sorry. I would hope that they upgrade the information on that marketplace. That we start to get some more detailed information. Overall mints and mint numbers are a thing.
Yeah.
To us at least, the people who collect wearables. So I think that that stuff should be on there. and if they're missing anything from the old marketplace as well. But I was on the like kind of like a hopeful assumption that was like not finished. Like, nah, that's not it, right? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
No, yeah, I agree. We need mint numbers, and we need like just out of numbers, because unless you know what an epic wearable is and like how much each wearable is per like category, you're not going to know it's out of 1,000.
Mm-hmm. One of the reasons too is because new people go to the marketplace to buy, and they're at a disadvantage because they don't know that there's OpenSea. I've noticed it in the buys, because I'll see it in the buys, like this guy's wiping out this one thing, and I'm like, man, he's getting ripped off. I better go buy all the cheap stuff in OpenSea, and I do all that. So it'll be like some dude buying hats or whatever for way more expensive, 70 mana pop. I'm like, okay, go, I better go this for 40, because I know they exist.
Someone bought some. I put like my nurse's that creepy nurse costume.
That happens. I sold
it for like 1,200 mana, and it's still pre-sale for 500 on
exactly.
OpenSea.
I did that with the vampire outfit like 4 times.
Yeah,
I sold the vampire outfit for 2,500 one time. I was like,
what?
Yeah, like I'm not telling you.
500 at the store. I went by and got another one. I went by the 2. I went back and got 2. I was like, shit. This is like money.
Arbitrage on the next level.
This thing's money.
Yeah, I'm never gonna negotiate a deal like that, like via DM and mislead someone. But I'm gonna throw it up there, and if you're too lazy to like look around and find the best price, then so be it. I mean, I've been the person that's getting screwed like that on other projects too. So,
but I think it's also Decentraland's job to provide sales history. I don't know why they can't.
Sales history, definitely. I think there's a lot of stuff that the new marketplace is lacking that the old one had.
Yeah, so I think like sales history, they should have. They should definitely have the number of mints. I mean, that's a no-brainer for wearables.
Yeah,
those two, like you have to go to OpenSea. First of all, you have to learn Decentraland, and if you're new to the NFT space, then you have to go learn OpenSea as well. And then you have to match the two, and then you have to go find the sales data in different discords and nonfungible.com. Well, actually, just different Discord. It's not easy to find.
It's a 3-screen event. You know what I mean? It
takes like 2 months to figure out all this stuff for Decentraland before you kind of get your head around everything. Shouldn't be like that.
Yeah, and you can always message one of like I said, I'm never going to mislead someone. So like, there's people in the community that you can reach out to and ask like, what's a fair evaluation for stuff like this? Like, I'm never going to tell you that it's more expensive than what it really is. Like, I'm going to be as honest with you as possible. But
a lot of like myself and Anurag, a lot of the older people that've been doing wearables for a while, you're not even tripping. Like, you're not trying to put somebody on the wrong path. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm fine. You know,
I'm not trying to scam someone for 200.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
No, but I do that with other Discords I jump in, like Zedrun. And when I first started Axie, I would just look at who's the most active user in there, and I'd just DM them and ask them questions about stuff. Like, there's no harm in that. All they're going to do is just not answer you, so you move on to the next person, or you have a good conversation, you learn some stuff, and you can make an educated purchase on their project. But yeah, they need to make some upgrades to Marketplace. And just going off that, they've made upgrades to the in-world map and everything like that we've been seeing some pictures of, and even what's already come out, where the stuff's definitely in the works. It's just how much of a priority is it really right now?
Now the stars. How are we deciding who gets a star, and how did the Sugar Club not get a star?
I think what happened.
Do you know anything about that?
Stars. The stars on the map, you mean?
Like on location points.
Yeah, points of interest.
It's all the treasure hunting spots, right?
Yeah.
No, I think you can just name it. You just name your scene, don't you?
No.
To get a star on the map, you have to like have it approved by the Decentraland team as of now. I think they're going to decentralize that hopefully in the future.
I'm going to lobby for Sugar Club. I'm going to be lobbying for Sugar Club star.
Dude,
I think they should get one soon. I don't see why they would.
I'm joking.
I'm
sure it's fine.
I haven't gotten one for. Yeah, exactly. I haven't gotten.
It'd be really
one
good if it'd be great if they have like different colored stars, and then if you hit a certain visitor threshold, like if you've hit 10,000 visitors in a day or a month, and suddenly bam, you're like red. For the day. You're like red hot.
It was like a fire emblem.
You're like a fire GIF.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah,
definitely. Or like different color, like DCL Plazas does, where it's like this color for entertainment, this color for business, or whatever. So you kind of have an idea
like
of
you
what
got
you're
that
going
filter,
to.
and you can like flip through. Like, think about it. When we start having a lot of builds, it's going to be a lot of stuff out there, and it's going to be even harder to navigate than it is, now.
I think it should be something that's automated. If you get like 10,000 visitors in a month, then you get point of interest for the following month or something. That way it's dynamic. There's always something to look at.
It'd be a cool mechanic to watch too. Be like live, watching
for sure.
people's like,
Yeah, one of the conversations that I was bringing up earlier was the idea of like nefarious content and the legalities of all that stuff. And so like since we understand how Decentraland is going to be, if somebody posts anything nefarious, who do you guys think is responsible for that?
As far as what, like who decides whether or not it's...
Let's say like it's something. Let's say something bad. Like, is Decentraland responsible because they have decentraland.org and you're on their domain, or is it the landowner's liability?
Like, say, because we're about to get video streaming here pretty soon, like, so kind of like determining what because what the barrier is. What if somebody starts putting up like beheading videos and stuff like that?
Absolutely.
Is that acceptable?
It's like in Facebook, you can steal anybody's content. Facebook is not going to do anything. They really don't care. And you can host your own video on using some platform other than YouTube, and you can steal people's music, content, whatever, and that could easily happen in Decentraland. And who's
gonna happen? For sure.
Who's responsible for that? And so one of the conversation that I was having on Discord was it's really the landowner. Like, you can only go after the landowner because, Decentraland, it's like if you build a car and somebody uses that car to run over people, it's not Ford's fault, right? So, but Clark was the one who was saying that it's actually Decentraland's liability because of, or actually not Decentraland, but the foundation, because they own the assets and the domain and all that stuff. I was like, well, they're Ford. They can't really do anything. They can't take you down if they wanted to. I mean, they can right now, but they can't, in the future, right, when everything is actually completely decentralized.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because what's going to end up happening is if you want to sue for something, if you're an artist and let's say someone puts your music video up on live streaming and they don't have permission to do so, if like you're a landowner that really doesn't have that much money, the artist isn't going to come after you. They're going to go after the person or the entity with the biggest pockets, and that's going to be Decentraland. Like, if someone comes after me, like, man, I don't have money to pay an artist back for like what their royalty fees and stuff are. They're going to go after Decentraland if they can.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the thing. Like, I don't understand the tech side of it. Where like, where does the liability start and stop for DCO?
Yeah,
that's what I don't know.
I mean, ideally, the reason why we're in Decentraland is because everything is decentralized. So it's just a platform that we use, and it's really up to the community to kind of manage like what kind of content is on there. And one of the things that Iman and I had talked about, months ago, was some sort of like crowdsourced flagging mechanism within Decentraland where it's you basically flag a parcel as like, hey, there's nefarious content here. And if it gets enough flags within a certain amount of time, then it gets automatically like a black, cube gets wrapped around it. Now you can still go inside, right? Yeah. But you can't actually see what's going on until you go in, right? And so I can't think of another way of doing it besides, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I like that idea.
It seems
just like
it seems to
be
maybe
like just like undeploys the content there for 48 hours.
Yeah, that would deter like nefarious content for sure.
So like every time you get reported, it's like the Facebook. I don't know if you guys run Facebook ads, but if you do something shady, then they'll ban your Facebook page for like 24 hours, and then if you do it again, it's like 48 hours, and then it's like a week. Then a month, and then it's like a ban after the 5th one. So it could be the same thing with Decentraland too.
I don't know if I like that though.
Yeah, that's the debate whether or not.
Never permabanned, but like a long maybe 4 days worth of a
like a deployment suspension.
Undeployment.
This put on by the community. So you're like, we voted on suspending that person.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Or that whatever, you know. So like, all right, first of all, that's detrimental to our money. So I'm already gonna be like, man, get that dude out of here.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Because I'm not even about that. Like come up in here doing some dumb shit. Like, listen, man, you're trying to make money here.
Yeah.
You know? So like I'm not even trying to be into that. Like, yeah, we should have that stuff out of here, but we can vote on it as a group and then hopefully implement some sort of mechanism, you know?
Yeah.
But what happens if someone on the land next to me just builds something I don't like? And I have land there, and I just don't like it, and I just want to report them, and I want to get it removed. I'm going to host an event while it's removed. Like, that's what I don't like about editing others' content.
Yeah,
like, where does the thing of free speech start and stop? We're all in other countries and other territories. Like, where does
if you're a big
influencer, or even this, like, what if people didn't like that I had people powwowing all the time? And they wanted, some sort of more attention, so they got me to, shut my thing down, so I wasn't powwowing with people no more.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. You open up a really dangerous territory, being able to kind of edit others' content. Like, I understand for stuff it's going to be necessary, like really graphic videos and stuff like that, or some really hateful speech and stuff. But at the same time, like, we all came in here because it was decentralized. Like I mean. It's like, where do we draw the line is what I'm saying. I don't know.
I think you're going to see, to be honest, I think you're going to see very little of that stuff because people have paid money to join this world.
I think so too. Yeah.
So they're financially invested. They're not just people that are just
trolls,
going in for free and they can edit the world. They can't.
And the further this thing goes along, the higher price point, like the entry point is going to be. And you're not going to be just like dropping $2,000-$3,000 to go, put some stupid shit up, that's going to bother someone, just to bother somebody.
Unless it gets like really big, and then there's big organizations that come in that are like bad.
Yeah,
there's that. There's that. We might have to cross that bridge when the bridge presents.
It's like a scary thought.
It is.
Yeah.
This is a crazy thing about this project is you can think about all this stuff and get lost in all these random discussions that we can't do anything about at the moment, but we just have those conversations.
And a side conversation to this topic was, should people be able to like host casino games within their own parcel as long as it's legal, right? Does that make sense? Because like if in the real world,
in Vegas, you just have like slot machines in random places. You just go into some shops. This guy's just got a slot machine.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. Because think about it. In the real world, we're limited to physics. We're limited to like actual GPS locations to where we can and can't do stuff. Right. But in a metaverse, you can run a legal gambling, business, but it's not geolocated. Right. It's throughout the world. It's like the games are dispersed throughout the world, and what you gain from that is like your landowners are now pushing people to come to their land to gamble, right? So now, like for example, Decentraland Games would have a bunch of hosts pushing to play, some of these gambling games instead of just Decentraland Games saying, "Hey, come and play here," right? The sole marketer. And so, like, what do you guys think on, thinking outside the box and in terms of like being able to do things that you wouldn't otherwise do in the real world?
Yeah, I think James's main concern, I think when we brought this up in your guys' Discord, was that someone could come along and like deploy something similar looking to like one of my builds and like kind of do like a phishing attack. Based on that, just because like the user would assume that it's part of like my games, and instead it would be hooked up to like a different server app that like fishes like in a different smart contract that just takes people's money. So we kind of, what Will and I realized that we'd have to do is have some type of live API call that makes sure that specific build is like legit. And publish that somewhere, just so people would have an updated version of like what's actually ours and what's something that someone else just like deployed randomly. But that's obviously, I don't know how that would be communicated to the user.
Yeah, you would have to communicate
in real
to
time
the user for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
But yeah, obviously James of Vegas once he was proposing that, you know, that there should be gambling zones that are more regulated and kind of looked after, and that he was proposing that Vegas would do that. But I mean, obviously, I think there's because we explored some type of like mini casinos that we could have just put on MetaZone or something and just let whoever you know, deploy them and get a percentage of the revenue from that. So we're open to both options. We just want to ensure that, like, you know, no one gets their stuff stolen.
Yeah.
And scammed, you know. So but I personally think that both are going to be viable, but I just think that we have to be careful with the more decentralized version.
Yeah. No, I totally agree with that. And James does bring up a good point. If you have a bunch of these games dispersed throughout the land, I mean, one of them can be just switched for a nefarious one, a fake one, and just take people's money. And so then you would require users to be intelligent enough to, you know, do the due diligence to make sure that they're putting their money into the right machine, right? So that would be the issue. But James, you know, he does bring up a good point. And the way that I look at it is, you know, we're not limited to physics here. We can teleport, right? And so we should have like unique experiences, you know, in the most unique way that we can. And that's sort of how I look at things. And that does play to, you know, that allows us to create, you know, unique gameplay experiences that that you couldn't otherwise do in any other metaverse, really. Is that the fact that you have to involve landowners, you have to think of a way to incentivize those landowners to participate. And once you do, then pretty much anything is possible. So, and that's why I like kind of like what Decentraland has done, just because if you figure out a way to incentivize the right people, like anything is possible, really. So I'm walking around here, and it looks like we got a good number of people here.
Crowd,
on
you know?
Frankie's there.
Yeah.
So
I'm on Athena Amber, and I don't think all of us are on the same.
I'm on Athena Amber.
Is it minus 60, minus 114?
Minus 67.
Minus 66, minus 114. Yeah. I just learned that Jason's here. Jason is Macintosh. I didn't know that.
Yeah,
so,
dude.
What up?
Oh, really?
That's the thing.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Open NFT's here, Toonpunk's here, Swiss is here, Norman.
I'll tell you what, for that fashion show, it took me probably 2 hours just to go through, because I had like 16, I had 20 prizes to give out.
We need to debrief on that.
There's so many. What's that?
We need to debrief on that, man. Some hilarious
it was
stuff
a month
happened.
ago. It was like
I felt like
I was just thinking that, dude. But it was so hard to find everyone. So I was like, all right, cool. Like, I'll just look in the Discord, and this winner will get this prize. I was like, the only issue I'm going to have is if it's a guest, which I didn't think would happen because guests don't own wearables. So I was going through. I'm like, man, like everyone's name is different in World than it is on Discord. It's so hard to find people. I was having to go like, okay, copy paste this Ethereum address into here, and I was using Maddie, the NFT Moneymakers avatar bot, to search through all these names. And it's like, okay, well, this name was claimed by this address, but then has it been sold since it was claimed?
Oh, you had to do an investigation.
It was so much. I did not realize how long it was going to take me, but
yeah,
I think we did way too many prizes. That was a problem.
Dude, it was so much. It was so much because I wanted to make sure. Well, it was necessary because I feel like if you won a category, like I thought
it's
that
subjective
if we
too.
were to do the judges, like judges voting would be way too much. They're not from the space. They don't know what they're voting on really. So I thought that was going to be too complicated, and I proved to be correct because we were all in different realms.
Yeah.
But my goodness, 15 prizes, 20 prizes was so much. It was a lot to keep track of.
That was awesome.
I thought it went
awesome,
well.
man.
I mean, like you said, it feels like it was a month ago. I was just thinking about that before I got on this call today. But it was
that was last week, right before this call.
It was going on
right after this call, right?
Yeah, it was going on right now. 7 p.m.
Dang,
Eastern.
that was last week?
What
the hell, man?
That's what I'm saying. It felt like so long.
Quarantine's killing us. Quarantine is killing us right now.
We're getting a lot done too, so that's the reason what it is. We got
Oh yeah,
a bunch of other stuff going on.
Proposal documents.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it was funny because on the Discord there were people that didn't mute their microphones, so we could hear everything.
Oh, that was too fucking funny.
Dude, that was hilarious.
Dude,
I was like a broken record.
It was the funniest thing ever.
No, someone was literally pissing themselves though, in the
toilet. We heard the whole
go to the
I was
bathroom.
just, oh my God, I was in tears.
Yeah.
Tears.
And then like we heard him argue with somebody, and then he was complaining that it was all laggy.
So stupid. I can't hear I can't hear anything.
Someone straight up hating on the event.
As I'm begging them to mute themselves.
You handled it pretty well though.
Couldn't Carl do that as a server admin? Can't he mute people?
He could, but I'm sure he was busy doing something else.
Oh yeah. But I'm just thinking in the future.
Well, I think the way you should do it next time, if you ever do it next time, is use Zoom. You can have 100 people on
That's
there.
That's what I'm saying. You can
have
have people in a Discord channel if you want, but you can use Zoom to like an announcement channel, you know?
Yeah.
And you can also use my station, obviously, whenever you want to stream stuff like that. So, like, you know.
Well, I should have done it live audio, but the issue was I'm not dev or anyone that's comfortable setting that up within the first, I think it had only been deployed for like a week. And then I wanted to make sure that all the judges got an opportunity to promote what they were working on, whether it be like the Zima Red podcast or Josie with her artwork and and CV and just the NFT space. Yeah. And I didn't want to have any snags there with setting that up. I just thought, even though I wanted to use what Decentraland has been giving us with the live audio streaming and everything, I thought for that event it would be best suited for us to just do the Discord chat.
It was so new too. I had only done my second stream that night. You know.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And I mean,
that's why I didn't really like jump out and offer, because I was like, man, I don't even know if I can do this correctly right now. You know.
Exactly, and it's not even my land. So if we had an issue, I would have had to gone. I would have had. Well, a judge would have messaged me. I would have had to message Carl. Carl messaged me. Me messaged the judge. Like, it was just way too many lines of communication.
Yeah.
We could figure it out for next time without a problem, though. I mean, that would be so simple.
Definitely.
And yeah.
And Red Nitrous reminded me that there was somebody posting porn in the chat too. You missed it, Anorak.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I didn't see that part.
Somebody. Oh, you saw it.
Yeah, because I was going back and forth between it, because like Whale Shark and some of the judges were messaging their winners since they didn't have the mic in.
Yeah.
But yeah, I saw it. They came in hot, like they were dropping a bunch of curse words, and then they started posting all that hentai porn. So
yeah. I wonder. I mean, why? I mean, it's not going to last long. I mean, it's just.
Yeah, but this
free trolling, baby.
These are all good signs, you guys, that you got to recognize. This is like what internet is supposed to look like. You know what I mean? There's a bunch of degenerates like fucking posting ridiculous shit. You know, ridiculous. I mean, we're actually getting some traction here.
It's like on Twitter. On Twitter, when we announced the fashion show, we announced the judges. Someone comments on the tweet, and they're like, "Oh, it would be great if we had some actual fashion people judging this fashion show." And I was gonna type up like, "Oh my god, I got a hater! Like I made it." Yeah. Like someone's like taking time out of their day to like hate on this stuff. Yeah. But like at the end of the day, like Shibu was a judge. Shibu created the wearables. What are you talking about?
Right. That was a similar feeling I had when we had the guy that did the response video to our roundtable.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
So I just thought that was in world.
You know, I don't think it was the same thing, because it wasn't like a hating situation, but it was like interesting. Like, wow, somebody's recognizing it. You know, somebody's paying attention. You know.
Yeah, positive or negative.
Yeah, I totally agree.
I'm not going to change the way I talk. You know, so.
Yeah. So I enjoyed the fashion show. It was a comedic relief. And I know Anorak, that was like a pain in the ass for you. But it was definitely really entertaining.
I had a blast during the fashion show. The pain for me was just like really just dealing out the prizes after, and then leading up to it, just coordinating everything with sponsors and judges and stuff. I mean, we had 5 judges and 6 different sponsors. And one of the sponsors is still being difficult about getting me the prize that they committed to give some of the contestants.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm not going to say any names, obviously, but I I allowed them to do something I don't normally do. I ask everyone to send me prizes beforehand. I want to be the person to hand them out. If I'm committing giving prizes to someone, I want to have them in my possession.
Mm-hmm.
I think I've proven myself to the immediate community that I'm not going to just take the bag and run off on people. Like if I get it, I'm going to distribute it as I say I do. But there is some newer people I was dealing with this time around, and I haven't earned their trust with stuff, and I understand that. But they committed some prizes, and we put up pictures of their stuff and their signs, and I mean, a week later and 3-4 messages later, the person who won the prize still doesn't have it in their wallet. So I'm trying to get that figured out, but I mean, that hurts my reputation as well as DCL Cores, where if we're promising stuff and we can't deliver it, you know, then it hurts our reputation, and it should. So it's going to be the last time that I take that route. But yeah, the company didn't want to send it to me to start off with. So now I got to go through them. And that's been the biggest pain about this whole fashion show is the prize situation.
Dang, I can imagine.
I wonder if you can just compensate with mana.
Well, the prize was supposed to be pretty significant.
Wow.
Really?
So, yeah. Like, probably if you were to sit on, probably more than that. It was like $35 prize, $40 prize, something like that.
Okay.
If you were to sell on OpenSea. So
that's like 1,200 mana.
Yeah, 3 cents.
Yeah. Context clues are adding up. Yeah. I think I can figure out.
Yeah, it's like 11.50.
Well, worst case scenario, let's just do that. 1,500.
I think they should still come around. I don't understand what the issue is. What the issue is there. I still have faith they're going to come around. It's just the person I'm dealing with, I think, is on a totally different time zone than myself. So we just play like tag in Discord. Like I'll send him or her something, and then I won't hear back for 8 hours, and I'll get a message at 3:00 in the morning my time, and then we just repeat there. And it's like, oh, that's one of the biggest issues. Taking care of it, blah blah blah. And
yeah.
So
it's one of my biggest issues too when organizing events. I like this business conference I'm trying to organize. They get back to me when I'm asleep, and then I get back to them when I guess they're asleep. So it's like snail pace.
But dude, even when we're all like awake, we're still on different times. Like when I'm waking up in the morning, Maddie, you're like fired up. It's like 10 p.m. your time, and you're like on a different gear than I am.
That's what I'm saying.
When I'm ready to go, everyone's like about to sleep.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm like,
Frankie, you feel the same way.
The memes, man, because I'm like, all right. It's like 11:30 at night, man. He's like, "You ready to do some memes?" I'm like, "Yo, not like I'll do some now, yeah, but I'm tired, you know." Because I wake up at like 6:30 in the morning. I go to work. Like I had things shaking by 9 o'clock this morning. You know, like.
If you notice, I'm like in the Discord channels everywhere, just like, "What's up? What's going on?"
Yeah, that time.
It's just nothing for 3 hours. Oh man. I gotta switch my working hours. I told my wife I'm gonna just start working at nighttime. Just sleep during the day.
Yeah. Dude, if she's cool with it, man. That's good.
Yep. Gotta do what I gotta do. Anyway, do you guys want to talk about specific topics? I had some so I think I was talking to Toonpunk, and he wanted us to go through like priorities, like what should we get them to prioritize on?
Oh, okay. Yeah, what do you got?
So I got, unless Will, did you have any specific topics that you wanted to bring up?
No, that was it. I really I was hoping to talk to Clark Kent, Superman, on some of this legality stuff, just because I'm just interested. Yeah, right. I was just interested on like his thoughts, because he's a lawyer, right? So you know, he's got a lot of say here. So, but yeah, no, let's talk about what you got.
So basically, what should they prioritize their efforts on in different categories? So we got like, you know, the SDK, the builder, the features in the world right now, like the map, etc. So let's start with the SDK, and we have like, you know, people that use the SDK pretty well right here. So, you know, is there any features that you find that need to be there immediately that aren't there, that are, I guess, quick fixes?
The only thing I'll say,
like low hanging fruits,
is I think what they're working on right now is like the social features, and that should probably take the main priority. A friends list, I saw the map from Augustine where you can see everybody on the map, like all the red dots. All that stuff, like that is probably the single most important thing. And to any developer out there who's using the SDK, like the best advice I could give is like build with what you've got, right?
Yeah, you got to use what you got.
Yeah,
you got to just
and that's
do what
it.
you can, you know.
And do what you can, and like Frankie's saying, and just that's all that's really required. But I think the social features are like primary.
I think that people using the SDK are like a little bit being like expecting a lot. And you're like, listen, man, we're just setting up. All right. This is what we got going on. You know, throw it together and draw some traction, you know, because there's more to this. And this is what I'm trying to build with my other new project is like, there's more to this than just building the project, making it nice. You know what I mean? It's about drawing the traction. That's how you become good at this, you know?
Yeah. But is there any lack of, like any one or two features that if they were to add, it would completely change?
You know what? You know what it is? If I had to say one thing, it would be synchronization. So, like, for example, when everybody's playing block hole, for example, everybody sees the exact same colors at the exact same time, and everybody drops through, stands on the same colors at the same time. Like that, if we can implement that, I mean, that would really make make experiences a lot more entertaining.
Yeah. Well, we can do a little experiment of this right now. Try to take a picture of me in this little hole right here.
All right.
Where are you? You up or down?
We were having issues.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So this is a real good example. If y'all can see what's going on. Neither of us are in the hole, I'm sure, for you guys. You know what I'm saying? But I'm set up at the spot. Yeah. But now I got Will looking backwards. I got Boss all on the other side. I don't know what he's doing. You know what I'm saying?
Wait,
like,
are you guys?
They don't line up exactly. You know?
Hold on, let me don't move, Frankie. I'm gonna take a picture.
Frankie, are you guys on Fenrir Amber?
Athena Amber, yeah.
Oh, no way. I'm on Fenrir Amber.
Oh, yeah, Fenrir Amber? I don't know how I ended up on. I just plugged the thing in.
Me and Anorak, you're here as well. That's why I was like, why is there only 3 people here?
Yeah, but I can. Wait, what were you guys just saying about?
So basically, the idea is that if we line up to the beam posters or whatever, they have a hole in them. They have 2 holes. You know, I'm lined up. I look like I'm facing forward, but Will looks like he's facing backwards. So we can't take our picture together.
Maddie and I had that issue the other day.
Yeah.
If you go to Decentraland's Discord,
I think that jumps in. That comes into play a lot, actually, a lot more than
you can check it out. What we're talking about in Decentraland's Discord in general, you see like we're both facing the opposite direction, and this is just like the tiniest of examples. Like the main ones is like when you're jumping over the block runner, and you're jumping over walls. It looks like you're just clipping through everything because everybody's seeing different walls, right? And I know we can actually synchronize them ourselves, but we have to stand up a different authorization server, and and we know that this synchronization is going to happen eventually, so it doesn't make sense to spend any time on it. Mm-hmm. But that's sort of like quality of life stuff, you know?
Yeah. To synchronize events in the metaverse, you kind of have to just set up an entirely different server. App.
And we've been talking about that actually recently, about setting up a different server and doing like an event like a concert. Let's say a concert. Set up on a completely different server, sell tickets so you can get to that server, you know?
What realm are you guys in right now? Sorry.
Let me post that link. Athena Amber. I'll just post it in Decentraland's Discord.
Yeah.
Okay, Athena.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Oh yeah, that's where everyone is. God.
Yeah, Maddie, I was in the same room as you. I was trying to look around. I saw like 2 people standing there.
Let me see. It's where all the cool kids hang out.
Dude, that's something that we should get figured out too. Like, can we get more than 50 people in a realm? Like, like stuff like the fashion show is difficult when you're trying to. I mean, we had, 80 users at any one time. Like, that was tough. I wish we could have got everyone in there.
That's funny. My Matrix outfit ended up winning, and it's just a stock outfit.
Dude, it's
just
so
like you
funny.
on the daily.
That was great. That was one of my finest moments that night. Oh my God. I was a couple beers in. I was cheering out loud.
We were like, all right, I'm going to pick Will.
Yeah.
And I was like, is he just dressed in all black with sunglasses?
That's like, Will won.
Dude, I knew it was gonna win.
Macintosh said, Frankie, that you should put a donation jar up here. I reckon that'd be a good idea.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah, man, I haven't even got to any of that stuff yet. I definitely probably should think about something like that. But I think with the next, well, Maddie, I think with the next idea, I'm gonna start using this land. You know what I mean? So we'll do it on the other one, in the neighborhood.
Hey, who?
But I think like everyone that's building any sort of scenes, because a lot of us are community members right now, and we'd love to support build.
No, I understand.
So like I would be tipping you all the time.
Yeah, no, I gotta get with somebody who would teach me how to do that too. But again, with the two lands where I'm doing the radio now are eventually probably going to be used for something else. So I want to probably I'll probably start doing most of them in the neighborhood, most of the broadcasts eventually.
Dude, a tip jar meta. Could you make that?
Oh, somebody's on that already. Somebody's on that. Who was it?
Yeah. I think you can pay.
It's really cool. It's like a flame, and the flame grows the more you donate, and like it glows and stuff. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Ooh,
but dude, you need tip jars because, like obviously Sugar Club made whatever they made off CoinFest. They made another couple K mana off of the fashion show after party. And I know Carl made a pretty nice little lump sum from the fashion show. Yeah, he made a few K too. So it's definitely an easy way to monetize your land, and you just throw it in a corner. You don't really ask people to do it. I know I did for the fashion show just because Carl deserved it, but you don't have to have a glowing sign over it. Just stick it up there, and if someone wants to donate, they'll donate.
Yeah, I mean,
you deserve it.
We'll see what it turns into. I have enough. I think I just kind of feel like I have like ideas about what I want to do with that kind of thing that I think that I can like, I'll get with you guys later about that, but like I think I'm gonna put it into this next idea, the whole generation of money
absolutely
to support what I'm doing. But I don't really think that it's necessary, honestly, right now to have a tip jar at this location.
It's up to you.
Yeah. But 100%.
Like anything that draws in 10 to 15, 20 people, pretty sure you get something. It's good to support.
Absolutely. And I definitely thought about that, but at the same time, I don't know. The radio, I like the radio being the radio and being more very community thing. I'm going to be able to make money because I have the radio. You know what I'm saying?
No, you can you can just put a tip jar and you can say this supports building on this project.
Yeah. No,
so people they want to help you out because the more
and I have those ideas the more
just take my money, Frankie.
I'm ready to give you something.
We got the next project. The next project is going to be probably where I go into that world of people supporting in that way.
Yeah, Toonpunk just messaged me. He says that the tip jar is one of the blockchain-enabled smart items that Nico is working on. So you'll be able to gain pretty easy access to it.
I figured as much. Yeah, I figured that's going to be.
It's going to be a drag and drop.
Yeah, exactly.
Imagine someone just has an empty land with a tip jar.
Nice. Hey, there was when I first started in Decentraland, there was a rock that just had a tip jar. It was just like a rock asking for tips in the forest. It's like the forest needs your money.
Yeah.
Y'all remember that? Am I the only one?
Yeah. Yes. I'm pretty sure you can make a really simple thing, but ask money to do like a simple functionality to like just engrave your name on this tree, or put a flame on this tree, and then the more the more people tip, the more flames it gets. I don't know, something cool like that.
Right.
Yeah. You can definitely have it make a function.
And then the tree evolves into something else after 20,000 mana tipped by the community. Who knows?
Sounds really cool.
I might do that.
Yeah.
I might do that on my 88 piece. Just a massive tree.
Tip monster, and it starts as a little baby monster, and it grows into this huge tip monster.
That could actually be a good thing for DCL Core, and I can just fund DCL Core like that. Just all that money just goes there. Anyway, cool ideas here and there. Mm-hmm. All right, so
as far as Maddie, just
excuse me,
answer you and Toonpunk, as far as
there we go.
Setting priorities for the SDK and stuff.
Fire.
I think I guess maybe for a future roundtable, we should bring on more actual hardcore developers who. Someone like Corv, Oscar, who might actually have a better opinion on what needs to be implemented.
That's true.
You mean like on the Zoom calls?
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
I mean, I feel like Corv should just come on whenever he wants. Basically.
Yeah, I mean,
he's a busy guy.
Dude, he's super busy.
I'm saying, but I mean, if he feels like coming on right now, I feel like that'd be fine.
Yeah,
maybe it's
but-
about scheduling it around them when they're available.
Exactly.
Oh,
That's my
okay.
point.
I got you.
He doesn't have the time to just like freely do things, you know.
Mhm.
But if we have a specific topic in mind like this, something that directly impacts him and his development, for sure he'll want to be a part of that. For sure.
Gotcha.
Oh, by the way, Frankie, you should be putting these on the event calendar, man. Like these
The,
Zoom calls.
Yeah, I know. Everything. I feel like everything's been going so quick. It's almost like the other day I had an interview and it was like I had found out what time we were going to do it in the morning, and I was like, do I put this on the events calendar? Like everything's,
Yeah.
But I got to get better with that too. Definitely, yes.
No, like I would just submit an event. It'd be cool if you could just put like recurring event every week.
Oh yeah. Maybe I can do that.
Yeah. I was just going to say, I wish we could add like a past events section to that page, because there's some stuff that I try and look back on and I'm like, what were the coordinates of that event or whatever, and I go to the events page and it's all
we're trying to synchronize jumping right now.
Yeah.
In the land, everyone's jumping around. Sorry, I cut you off, Anurag. I was just too excited about.
Oh no, you're good. I'm trying to load the scene right now.
I forgot to mention...
one really cool thing that happened was me and Anurag got to meet Esteban in his pseudonym in the world, and he was working on something that was a complete custom upload, like nothing from the SDK, nothing from the builder, and he was trialing some stuff, and we just bumped into him. There were editable pixel boards, basically, that when Anurag edited them. Yeah. How cool is that?
You were in a different realm, man. You were in the wrong realm.
What was going on? I was drunk, man, so I had a lot going on.
I saw you posted the picture in our Discord chat because I was like, what? Frankie's here? And then I was looking and was like, oh, he's in Athena Amber, and I think we were in Fenrir.
Okay.
All right. But Frankie, man, if you had that here, just surrounding like the top level, everyone's
that's
drawing all
cool,
kinds of stuff.
Yeah, that's a cool little idea. I like that. Yeah. And I think that like was kind of like right in line with what I wanted to do originally with the paint shop, something like that. It was like live time changing stuff,
A graffiti.
It's kind of like the graffiti wall, but you can change different colors on the thing. So it's just kind of like you hit it and it gives you like 2-3 different colors,
Was it a shared experience so you can see the same thing?
Yeah. So like Anorak wrote Anorak.
Right.
And I could see him like changing the colors on the board while doing that.
Exactly.
It was sick. So I was talking to Esteban, and he's working on that. And then I think he also said he might be working on doing that with like voxels and stuff. So in building blocks together, which is going to open the door for like a lot of cool things like battles, pixel board versus pixel board, or Lego battle. Where you give someone half an hour and the coolest thing that they can build. So pretty much right up Frankie's alley, I guess.
Yeah, Toonpunk is saying that Esteban's going to set up an event for that pixel wall.
Awesome.
Okay,
that's so cool.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I'm excited.
Yeah, I definitely want to.
That was like something I really, really wanted in-game building. Like that's next level. And I had the impression it's going to be like way into the future. So that's cool to see it coming out now.
Yeah. Also, you showed a video playing within Decentraland, right, Maddie? Or who was it that showed that?
Around the cube, yeah.
Oh, August.
Yeah.
Sent it, and then I tweeted it. Is that what you're talking about?
That's what it was. Yeah.
The video stream?
Yeah, like video on a cube.
Yeah.
So all those features apparently will be available before the consensus event on May 11th.
That's crazy.
So the Genesis, there's going to be a new Genesis Plaza.
Yeah.
There's going to be the video streaming. I think there's also, you're going to be able to see where people are on the map. So a lot of really cool things in the next 2-3 weeks.
I wonder what source. Maybe the source of the streaming might have to be coming from YouTube. That way, YouTube handles all the content.
Apparently, it's open.
Is it really?
Yeah.
So you just host it
for
somewhere.
The time being.
Okay.
Pretty much, you can upload whatever you want, I guess, and then I think after that, it'll be up to us to tune it down to what we want.
Yeah, because the Decentraland could leverage the resources of Google to comb through all the nefarious content, right? Through YouTube. So, I don't know. That's something to think about.
Yeah, I mean, they should just use YouTube because they already have the filtering process.
Yeah, exactly.
And start with YouTube, but who knows?
Maddie, can you elaborate
It'd be nice to host
on what's going on with
live,
consensus?
with consensus.
Yeah,
what's
are you
happening
allowed
with it.
to? Are you allowed to say anything about what they're doing with
I don't
Decentraland?
know.
I don't know if we've really.
I'm not sure. I think
gone into
yeah.
that much.
Well, I mean, it's publicly kind of on the blog post. I think Barry's gonna lead it, and somehow I'm involved. Like I may help kind of take people through the world or kind of talk to the people through audio or something. But they're currently working on what to actually get people to do. And I think the original plan was to get, people to move through different scenes. But looking back now, it's probably a better idea to just get them at one or two places, like especially Convention Center or Crypto Valley. That's got a really good gallery. It's got a really good place where you can talk to people for 15 minutes and present something like what Decentraland's all about. So because if you have people moving through different, having to type go to this and this coordinate, you're going to lose them, especially if you're checking out 4 or 5 different places. They're going to have a really bad experience. So, I think there's more momentum in just a half an hour period of being in a couple of locations, but having more of a discussion, feature-packed experience. That's all I know at the moment, but I think I'm going to jump on a call with some of them soon.
Yeah, and for people listening that aren't exactly sure what we're talking about, there's the meetup that's Consensus. It's going on May 11th, and it's not being hosted in Decentraland per se. It's just there's a couple hundred different events that you can choose to go to, and one of them is being hosted in Decentraland. But they have guest speakers, Akon, and who was the other one? Chain Smokers too. Are doing presentations or whatever. So there's a bunch of different events. It's not exclusive to Decentraland. They're just doing something within the world.
This is what I think.
We're talking about.
This is what I think makes the Decentraland unique, because it's got investors like Barry Silbert involved, which honestly has a lot of strength and power to bring that sort of awareness to Decentraland, the whole conferencing thing. Because I think he owns CoinDesk, doesn't he? Or he's got a big share in it? Or DCG owns CoinDesk?
Yeah, that's what someone was telling us last time, is that he's got share in it. What was that, Baus?
Share in, okay.
Yeah, DCG owns CoinDesk.
DCG does, okay.
Oh, really? Well, there you go.
Acquired them. Yeah. It was like a few years ago, I think they acquired CoinDesk. Yeah.
Awesome. So yeah, then it only makes sense to do something in Decentraland. Not the whole event, but something. Yeah.
Well, I think if we really start the whole conferencing momentum, which I'm trying to do, like the whole business conferences in Decentraland, NFT blockchain projects just come and pitch to us, then they should be able to just leverage off that and then just basically make the whole blockchain space, tell us about. Like all these companies I asked, not one of them said no. They were all like, hell yeah. And there was 5 of them that I asked to come and tell us about their projects. So Engine, the whole Engine community are building games, but honestly, like none of us in the Ethereum world know about them. But if I were to go and tell them, hey, if you got an Engine game, come tell us about it for 15 minutes. I'm pretty sure they'd all say yes.
It's true.
And there's like 10 different top level games
there. So how is the event going to happen? Because in this COVID era, this consensus event you are talking about.
The consensus one's on the May 11th.
So I guess the assumption is like there won't be a lockdown during that period, and those are going to be like a normal event.
No. So this is called distributed consensus. It's the virtual version of the whole consensus event.
This is going to be a bunch of Zoom calls mostly, right?
Pretty much. So yeah, it's a bunch of virtual experiences. So you can tune into different streams and channels, I think.
Okay.
And based on who's presenting, you can hear them out.
Oh, okay.
Probably just, basically all Zoom streams, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I think that's what we've been witnessing so far. Like it's been mostly on Zoom. And they'll have like an audience, but the chat will be locked up, and then they'll open up Q&A at the end, stuff like that. So yeah, that makes sense. There's definitely a pathway to Decentraland with these event organizations.
That's why I'm thinking like the priority for Decentraland, I could see them moving the momentum of streaming and enabling discussions and conferencing and education. And I think that's because we have the people that can bring that crowd to the project. So it's an easy pathway to growth. And yeah, other communities like art and all that are coming up, but I'm just seeing the level of priority seems to be in that direction.
Well, that's good. The more the conferences, more the better. I think just more interaction, and it gives like.
Well, it helps you network with the right people.
Yeah.
That one, experience Decentraland, and two, probably think about, hey, wait a second, maybe we should run something here.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
Yeah.
Something to think about. Like, we could run like a trial version with some kind of smaller event.
So I've got a business conference on Wednesday. So that's the one I was talking about. I got like 5 people lined up for it. I got Alex, who did a fund on himself for like 20,000 USD.
Oh, okay.
I got Mintbase, AxiGG, a couple of others. Oh, Cent. You guys know Cent?
Yeah.
The Cent articles and stuff. Yeah. So
yeah,
Matt, they're coming in, and then someone else.
Mintbase.
Yeah, Mintbase, and then so that's 4.
Metafactory. Did you say?
Oh yeah, Metafactory. Metafactory is pretty cool.
Wow, this is already a great lineup for sure.
Do you guys know Metafactory?
Yeah, I've heard of them.
Yeah, pretty cool concept.
They're involved. Yesterday when they had that interview with the Lao, they're involved with them as well.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
So it'll be interesting to hear what they're about for sure. Is that what it is? It's going to be like each project has their own turn to kind of present their...
just 15 minutes each. Tell us about the project. That's
awesome. Oh, yeah. That's definitely something I'm looking forward to for sure.
So I want to do them on the weekly. I want to have 3 to 5 companies come in.
Yeah.
I got a Known Origin messaged me after as well. So they want to come and tell us about their project. They're the art company, Known Origin.
Yeah, Maddie, I think you can make a bunch of really, really good YouTube videos out of those too, you know?
Yeah.
Out of those conferences, like actually kind of like full length, you know what I mean? Showing what happened, you know?
Yeah, 100%, man. Like do a good like an hour content of the whole conference.
Anorak, you're gonna be the video guy?
Yeah, can someone like we need a few video recorders.
That's what I'm saying. Like in-game Decentraland video guy that's doing the videos, like record them on the computer,
like giving different shot angles and stuff.
Yeah, you know.
I need to upgrade my computer to do that. Right now, I've just been doing QuickTime. A lot of this stuff I don't have the updates for, and if I update my Mac, I know some stuff's going to crash on it. Mm-hmm. So I need to get a new computer. It's all this COVID stuff's really killing my ability to go shop for some of that stuff. But I'm definitely down to make some videos. Carl had a nice one of the fashion show. He just stood up top, videotaped the whole time. But yeah, because when you're running those events, you're too bogged down with other stuff to be worried about, like taking pictures.
Actually, I'm not going to be doing any talking. I can probably do the video stuff, but I can't. I don't know. I'll take a look at that. I might be able to do all that stuff. Like actually get the video footage of it, because I'm not going to be doing anything besides just playing the sound.
Is that via Zoom, or are they going to be in Decentraland presenting stuff?
What? Sorry, what was that?
Is that conference via Zoom, or are they going to be in Decentraland presenting stuff?
So it's going to be a Zoom call. So I'm going to get Frankie on the line as well, and all 5 of us, I guess. And then Frankie's going to stream that audio-wise through convention center.
The convention center,
yeah. So it's going to be held at the convention center. So audio is going to be heard in Decentraland through Zoom, basically.
Could we have?
Hey, what's happening? Hold on a second. Look, Corv right there.
There he is.
I man just said you didn't have time to be here.
Oh, I guess he does. He's only
he shows up right away. The Corv don't got time for shit like this. Corv's like dancing.
There he is.
All right, I'll stop.
Yeah, Oscar, we were just talking about you, how you're a busy guy, and now you're here with us.
They're looking for SDK priority list, essentially. And I told them, it's probably a question to pose to the developers who are actually using the SDK. So we'll definitely have a conversation about that offline. And then maybe next week, it's definitely a good time for you to come on and, voice your opinion on that.
Yeah,
and he's not here to discuss serious topics. He's here to dance.
Yeah,
he's just having a good time. He's like, screw this. I'm not here to.
He's like, blah blah business. Blah. Man, I'm gonna get busy over here. Oh man,
shit. That's good. We can interact. We should ask them if there's any questions they want to ask. If there's any questions you guys want to ask, just type it in here.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, we should have a Q&A board that they can contribute to. So we
Like
actually just pull topics straight from there and talk.
Oh yeah, in general, I didn't think about that.
Oh, I was just thinking in the actual building somehow.
Oh yeah, so you type it in and it just shows up on the list there.
Don't nobody have questions. Everybody just trying to make side deals. Yo, let me get that barbarian hat.
hey.
So apparently NFT trading is going to be enabled soon as well. So
they talked
in
about
game.
that's right.
Oh, that's gonna be crazy. Y'all step
Plaza.
off me, man. They ain't getting none of my stuff.
Yeah, and like there's not going to be any fees in game trading, so that might be like a good incentive to do it.
Oh man, that's gonna be good.
I wanna display my mint numbers on my clothes though, so that people know and they can make a trade with me.
Like
I got
like a number one badge right there.
Dude, I got mint one whole barbarian set.
I know you do.
No one can tell the difference when I'm in the world though.
I saw somebody selling a mint one astronaut suit for 10 million mana.
Oh, is that why
that was mine? I had the head for. I had the head for that.
That
I had
was
the number one head.
Yeah.
I had to sell that because I was broke.
No, for sure. I mean, hopefully she sells it. I mean, that'd be a big deal there.
Yeah.
Who the hell has 10 million mana?
Yeah, I don't know. Not I.
And if they're gonna spend 10 million mana, they might as well spend it on my theater mask.
Yeah, for sure, right? Yeah, there's only like 6 of them, right?
There's 5 of them right now, and I got the number 1.
Yeah.
It's the number 3 overall. Yeah.
Dang.
Of what? What do you have?
The theater mask.
The theater mask. The all-white mask.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
There's only 5 of those? Wow.
Yeah, and that's the number 3 overall minted item in Decentraland.
So what is that? That's not a mythic. What's that?
It's a legendary, but it was given out during that mask contest. It was like 7 of us back then, you know? So they only minted so many. And then I don't even honestly have any of you guys ever seen that theater mask given out? Because I don't know where that thing came from.
I don't know where it came
from.
So
then like I randomly, I don't know, in the beginning of all this wearable stuff, I found out who had it, and they had put it up for what was a lot of money at the time, but now just like nothing. Yeah. So I got it. Yeah.
The theater mask, is that the
white mask? It's all white.
It's like Phantom of the Opera mask.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Well, I put it on. Hold on, I'll put it on right now. I'm talking about it.
Frankie, did you?
Those masks, I reckon there's only a handful of masks items that are actually going to go up in value and not be contested. I actually feel like all these wearables we have now, everyone can make pretty similar wearables once.
I would think so.
Once making them is
I'm actually of the opinion that it's going to drop the value of pretty much every wearable except for the unique ones like the launch shirt and the first ever masks. Like they can't be replicated.
Same. No. That's what, Frankie, I was going to say. Were you able to kind of read up on that conversation we had in the one Discord chat with like me and Clark Kent and Wasabi and Red Nitrous with Litecoin Moses?
I know what you're talking about. I don't remember.
Yeah, we were kind of having a debate as to whether or not all these wearables, like the one you're talking about, if they're out of 10 and there's only 5, should Decentraland mint the other 5 and release them?
That's right. Yeah.
And I was arguing that they should. I was arguing that they should, and they should use them for like another treasure hunt or something like that.
See, I don't look at it that way. I look at it like, if they're gonna mint, if they have the right to mint them, whatever, mint them. But no, you give them out as prizes and as the most prestigious prizes. So you don't give them out every week and a half or in one big bunch. No, you give them out like one this year. Like 2, 3 years, something like that. That's for the most biggest deal thing that you're going to do. So now you have a whole bunch of things that are already a big deal. Just hold on to them. And then, give them out as big deal prizes. You know what I'm saying? The Christmas stuff, all that stuff.
Yep.
Damn, Frankie. You got your mask on, man.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I agree.
I got no hair now, though. I lost my hair, It's all good, though.
This is the cool thing about Clark's proposal was that he had part of his proposal was to scale up the mintable wearables. Every time a certain user, like a base user thing was, a threshold was kind of breached. So if I had if we're getting 10,000 DAUs for like say a month straight or something, then suddenly we should be able to the allowable minting new wearables should be like 10,000 new, or maybe 50,000 new wearables for that year. And then the next year, if we reach 20,000 every day, we're getting people DAUs, then we could up that threshold to more. So that way, we're not flooding the market, and we're kind of making sure that there's a good supply and demand thing going on.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I explained that right.
Yeah,
no,
I like
that's my thing. But where does the demand actually come from? Is it just the scarcity value of these wearables? Meaning,
honestly, man, it's the scarcity. It could look shit, but if there's one of them, if there's just one of that item, it's going to be
people are on it.
People will pay money for it.
But there's a combination. It's like like the Bitcoin glasses. Like I got into the Bitcoin glasses because, okay, for instance, after the fashion show, 6 Bitcoin glasses went for over 3,000 mana. So, people that are like crypto people that are newer to the game, they got some money. They're not going to care how much it costs for those Bitcoin glasses. They're going to get a set. Yeah. So there's certain things that are outside of like the normal, just, you notice certain things like, nah, people like that more. That's more popular. People like, so the mana glasses, we all wanted a set of mana glasses. Everybody who collects wearables. So like, you can't, and that was a Decentraland launch item. So that wasn't a creator project item. So those were all given out. And then they all sold for like, we all try to grab them up for whatever price is low that we could. I got rid of my other set, which I probably should have never did, because now they're at like some wild number because everybody wants a set of those. I don't even wear them, but I know I want them. And it'll be one of the last things I sell.
Okay, so you guys don't think there's any kind of like brand value that's important to consider when it comes to these wearables? Like I can make a comparison with what we just witnessed with the Sugar Club and the gallery he just put up on MetaZone. The reason why these things are selling like hotcakes isn't because there's only 30 of them. He's basically monetized his own reputation he built for himself on Decentraland.
Yeah, agree.
You know
what I mean? Sugar stuff? Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, too sad. He sold like 7 or 8 of these sugar galleries in a 24-hour period.
Yeah. Is it up to 7?
He told me about that
7
too.
or 8?
Yeah.
He told me
I checked it was 4.
As in general, just like he's got himself like a little following through the Sugar Club, and that's good,
Yeah. So my point is, somebody else could have equally, could have done the same thing, created a gallery meta with 30 available, but not have the same reputation or brand that the Sugar Club has, and they probably wouldn't have sold a single one.
Absolutely.
So this is something this is where I think the wearable debate, there's like a fundamental misunderstanding of where the value comes from in these wearables. At least because right now they're all being created from one single creator, right? It's the Decentraland team. But once you open
but these are all the early. See, on the side of a collector, like, I guess what you're saying, but on the side of just like this is all the early stuff. So if this stuff does last years later, all this stuff will be really rare. Even thousands and thousands of all this stuff is going to end up being really rare if we have a really, really big user base. It don't matter what they put out. It don't matter what creator stuff. And creator stuff could end up having a whole different market than this stuff. You know what I'm saying? Because the creator stuff is from after. That I don't know that, but I'm just saying I kind of have a feeling, just amongst that. I kind of do a lot of talking with everybody who trades and stuff, and
Yeah.
That seems to be the sentiment.
My point is, my point is with this wearable debate, I obviously I'm in favor of an open market system to allow the possibility of people like Sugar Club to monetize their reputation, like I said, and not limit it to a specific group of people.
But the thing is, though, again, you got a whole group of people who have made this thing a thing. Like, okay, if we didn't make wearables so popular, would Decentraland be as popular as it is right now? Not to say it's really, really popular, but you know what I mean? Like, we as the people who are trading wearables back and forth, because I know I've gotten people to onboard because I'm trading wearables, not because they go into Decentraland for anything.
The thing is, an open market will crash the whole wearables market. And then suddenly it's not going to be like right now you can monetize, like, if you're making mythics, they have value because there's only 10 of them each. But suddenly if you're releasing 1,000 different mythics and you have 10,000 mythics, man, that's gonna absolutely crash the market.
Yeah,
and none of them are going to be worth more than 500 mana.
It would take the whole category down. You see what I'm saying? Like the whole category of 1 to 10 would be nothing because it would be like, oh, there's all these 1 to 10s around there. You know what I mean? So there's got to be something. Like
it's
I said,
if people were able to mint new land.
No, but that's not the case because land is a like a, it's non-fungible in the sense there's different coordinates to everyone, but every land is essentially the same product from land parcel to land parcel. The only thing separating them is speculative valuations based on their location. But wearables are different in the sense that no two wearable is the same. You know, they're different. They come from different creators. Like I said, the value the creator brings as far as their branding and marketing is going to uphold the market, I think. Like I said, just like Meta's, the way MetaZone operates is completely open to anybody to create and upload. So, and we're not.
I think the wearables is a little bit different. I have to stand on the other side and say, like, I think the wearables is a little bit different of a situation because you have all these people who, like, we were trading wearables when they weren't even, like, you can barely even see them on your character. Like, it was only first person back then. So it made like a buzz, like people, you know, around the, like, you know, the NFT community started to put eyes on us. I think it would be weird. I think it would be bad to devalue that. You know what I'm saying? Because it's one of the things that actually kind of like drew
the question is like, if you should you give value? Who should you prioritize the value for? The new people that are going to be in the thousands and millions that will come into Decentraland, or should you protect and form the model on the first early, say, 200 wearables investors? So,
well, I mean,
kind of like,
I think I think there will be, like, if you just do this right, I don't think it's gonna be a big deal. I think that if we have the creator items, first of all, I think the creator items should have different numbers. So it shouldn't be one of 1,000 and one of 100. It should be like, let's say, one of 50 and one of 500, or, you know what I'm saying? Like the numbers shouldn't be the same. That way you would just know that that's a creative person, creator made anything, you know? It would be like a different number altogether. And then that way I think you would like separate those categories. Legendary things are legendary. Creator, whatever you call that category, is that, you know?
I think there's a really good opportunity to merge the two different theories of having it an open market and being, you know, open to anyone who wants to come in and be creative and release something. And you mix that with the closed market of having to go through the DAO. And if you mix those two and you put a licensing fee on wearables, and let's say, this is all hypothetical, if the numbers don't work out, don't, you know, burn me at the stake or anything here, but let's say it's 10K mana to buy a license to be able to release 500 wearables of this thing. What happens is that 10K mana that you're spending to have the right to be able to put a wearable on the market goes into the DAO. That DAO, like, so everything's being funded. No one's profiting off of it. It's all being put into the DAO to be able to be invested in a project or something at a later date. So you have community aspect there where the community is benefiting from people purchasing these licenses. What's also going to happen is you're going to eliminate trolls right off the bat, right? No one's going to pay all that money to put something out that just has a giant dick on the front of the shirt. Like, people aren't going to do that.
Why not?
Because no one's going to buy. You're not going to see a return. If you don't see a return, well, that's the thing. If you don't see a return on your 10K mana, if you're just putting stuff out there to troll,
right,
and it's not selling, if you're spending 10K mana and you're not seeing any profit back off that stuff, you're not going to keep spending stuff to troll. You might do it once, but it's going to limit the amount of stuff that's coming into the market, theoretically speaking. I mean, obviously, if someone just has buku bucks to spend on everything, then they can just kind of keep spending on stuff. But you know, the idea is that it limits people from just trolling and putting stuff into the marketplace that has no value if they have to spend 10K mana for an entry fee.
That's a good point. I think I like that approach a little bit better.
But at the same time, like,
go ahead.
how? Okay, yeah, it's trolling in your eyes, but who's to say that dick on a T-shirt isn't like a viral sensation? You know what I mean?
Yeah, but if it is and it sells, and then the creator makes money and can get their money back.
Ivan's always like standing up for the trolls. Like, wait a minute, the trolls are all right with me.
Yeah, they kind of are. They have a place in this ecosystem as everyone else. You know, it's just I like the idea of equal opportunity for all these things, but I understand the hesitation as far as like, oversupply usually implies that there's going to be less demand for these things. But
sorry,
I think that's the case in like a non-fungible or in a fungible asset, meaning like something like a cryptocurrency, where every single unit of cryptocurrency is the exact same thing. There's nothing separating them. So yeah, of course, if all of a sudden you mint 1 million additional Bitcoins, the value of all these Bitcoins are going to diminish. But I don't think it's the same case for these wearables, in my opinion.
But you have to see what happened with crypto
voxels. Yeah,
literally that's what happened.
Yep.
What happened? Can you explain it to me?
So basically, it's an open market that anyone can come in, submit it to. I believe they create it in the voxel editor, or they make the preview of it, and then they submit it, the code to Ben, and he approves it. And I don't think he disapproves anything. So right now, it's an open market, and none of the wearables, as far as I know, are worth much at all. Like they're a few bucks each.
And you can't even like you barely even find any. There's just so much stuff.
Like if you go on OpenSea. I don't know. It's just there's no market there. That's why you never see them on the OpenSea rankings. Even though there's a lot of people that spend money, like are active in crypto voxels. There's no wearables market at all. Like people buy them and give them out for free and stuff. And if you buy them, they're a few dollars. But honestly, there's nothing like right now with Decentraland. They're worth this much because there's not many in circulation.
I think I bought my boots for like a penny each.
Dang.
Yeah, you can buy like the coolest stuff for like a couple of dollars.
What's the crypto voxels wearable? Is that what it's called? Wearables? Yeah.
Let's just kind of find it.
I think it's crazy that Decentraland Wearables has like 55 ETH volume on OpenSea.
That's what I'm saying.
Like it's absolutely nuts.
The wearables in Decentraland it has more volume than a lot of whole projects.
Yeah.
Like a lot, not a little bit. It's like 17th or something like that right now. You know what I mean?
I reckon the wearables
something
market
to be said for that.
Overtake the land market. Like tenfold eventually.
And I'm cool with that being one of the driving factors behind people liking Decentraland. I mean, like everything doesn't have to be straight up. Like sometimes it could be some bullshit that just worked. You know what I mean?
Was it Iman? Did you ask for the crypto voxels?
I found it. I think
there's number 44.
44 in ranking.
Yeah. So 1.9 ETH volume. And if you look at the market cap, it's 76 Ethereum. So the whole wearables market in crypto voxels is worth 76 ETH.
And we do that on a weekly basis in Decentraland, basically.
Look at Decentraland. It's 2,600, man.
Yeah, see, I'm seeing that they only have 1,800 items actually minted in voxels, and we have 50,000. So the numbers argument you guys are presenting doesn't make any sense. Meaning, because there's a way bigger supply in Decentraland than there is in crypto voxels. So then, what's driving the higher demand for these items? If it's not scarcity, because it's crypto voxel NFTs are more scarce right now.
It's the actual trading of it, and that's what we've been doing.
I think it's the actual demand. Meaning, I think there's actually more people interested in this platform overall than crypto voxels. I think that's
I think it could be. It could be also. I think the majority of the volume with Decentraland wearables are the higher priced items, and there's very little of those. There are way more items of like there's tens of thousands of the other stuff, but that's like the 90% of that is what's contributing to the higher like overall wearables mint number. But in terms of the ones that's actually contributing to the volume, it's like the mythics and the legendaries.
What do you guys thought on? Hold on, Iman. I have a question. What do you guys thought of buying a wearable but burning another one that you have?
Yeah, we need some sort of burn mechanism would be good for unnecessary.
I don't plan on burning no wearables.
Hey, why would you burn them?
To maintain, I guess, a specific set of valuable wearables within the market.
Meaning like the ones that are over minted, like the thousands available, like start burning those.
Yeah.
Well, Gods Unchained has a really good burn mechanism. It gets rid of their supply. Is that if you merge 5, it takes you to the next level, the next shine level. So if you burn 5 commons, it takes you to the next.
I've heard people talk about that
goals.
like that's gonna be a thing, like for us at the wearables, and I've heard people talk about it like that's just like a given.
But like you can merge, or maybe you can burn certain wearables to give you like a license or something, or like give you something else in the wearables area that's worth value.
Or the other option is if you're going to mint some, you have to burn some. So you have to buy, let's say if I wanted to mint something, I have to buy at least a set of 10 random wearables, but then I can burn them in order to mint a new set of something else.
Yeah. A burn mechanism would be really good. I think somehow you have to get rid of the stuff that is just noise. Like you have to get rid of stuff that doesn't sell.
I do like the burn idea. I think like having like some type of set amount and not flooding the market is pretty important. Because obviously if we keep printing them, then most of them are just going to go to zero. Mm-hmm. and then incentivizes you to kind of like recycle the old ones, right?
Yeah, and I also like the whole licensing concept that Anorak was bringing up. I think
you do like that.
I do like that.
Okay. Yeah. So I don't
like
think
where you have to buy the license.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Was there a licensing part in Clark's proposal?
Yeah. Basically, it was that. It was basically like you would have to like get a license of some sort. I forget the way he phrased it, but I'm pretty sure all that was in there.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I've talked to Clark about that quite a bit because Clark is one of the people who's out there almost hoarding wearables right now.
Oh yeah.
So when I
he's talking about, I got it.
I was just going to say, so when I bring up my views on stuff like this, where I think anyone should be able to mint wearables, you just have to pay to do it. And then also we were debating as to whether or not they should release all of the wearables that haven't been minted yet, but are still like out of 1,000, like there's only 750 that have been minted. We were going back and forth on that because he's someone who's been collecting all these wearables with the presumption that they're going to be worth more in the future if there's a scarce amount, where I'm coming from the camp that I'm not here to please the 10 people that got on early. I want to make sure that the 10,000 people that come are in a better boat than what we have now for the market, where I understand people that are moving first and taking the risk to buy these things based on speculation, want to see their investment grow and want to be rewarded for being early adopters. But at the end of the day, like I'm not out here to please 5 people. Like I want people to be able to come in and have the most options possible. Like as shitty as that is to say, like that's just how it is. Like you need to be cautious when you're doing stuff early. Like Axie's done this to me, man. Axie nerfs stuff all the time. So I'll spend $35 on one Axie and it'll get nerfed the next week and it makes it worth like $5. Like it just happens. Like
yeah, but we're not a centralized thing, so I don't think that needs to be a thing. Like we can talk about it. You know what I mean?
What's that?
Like if Axie decides they wanna devalue something or nerf something, they can do that. But we can just as a community be like, no, hold on, we don't really want that. You know what I mean? And that's what I'm saying. I'll always be on the side of I don't really want that. I'm not really trying to flood that market with wearables.
I'm wondering if my view on this would be different if I didn't own any wearables. Because I'm just seeing it on a point. Like I own a ton of wearables. At the end of the day,
it probably would be. Yeah,
it's my view. That's what my view comes from. I've always bought wearables, but I've always tried to sell them. I've tried to have a quick hand on stuff because I do expect this stuff to depreciate over time with more wearables coming in. Like I don't expect this stuff to go up forever. That's what I said. Frankie, I asked you on the little podcast we did. I was like, "So what's the ceiling on this stuff?" And all of you guys are like, "There is none."
No ceiling. No ceiling. That was, we were having fun that night. That wasn't even, that wasn't that serious.
That was post fashion show.
Yeah, we were having a blast, and that was a good night. But no, like, I'm sure there is, for like some of the stuff is not going to hold up. But I think some of the stuff should hold up, and I think that wearables would change in the future anyway. Like the next generation of wearables, you know, they would probably have like female body shapes could be different, male body shapes could be different. Animations of the body shape could be different. You know what I mean? Like all this different kind of stuff. This stuff could just be relics, and basically at the end of the day, kind of like collector's items from the beginning. I mean, so that's to me, that's the way I look at it. Listen, I'm already caught. Like I broke even on wearables long time ago, so it don't matter if they go to zero. But I would like it if they didn't.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's crazy. People spend more on a wearable than they will on like a prime spot of land. Yeah. Like I just still can't wrap my head around that wearables being more expensive than land.
I think it's because it's appreciated.
As a landowner, it shit ain't easy, man. It's not like it's easy to just own land and do something with it. You can hold a wearable for a week and a half and then sell it for 6 times. You're like, yo.
Well, crazy. Yeah, that's a thought. But at some point, someone's going to buy one of these wearables for $25K and be stuck, and there's no use case for it. Yeah. You know, I can have a rock with the tip jar on my land.
And plus, they've already bought wearables for more than $25K.
You know
man, what you talking about?
It's crazy.
Dude, let me throw a wrench.
I still think it's crazy.
I'll throw a wrench
in
the machine.
I bought a whole set for like $60K. I feel like an idiot now. Like,
but a whole set.
I saw I can't even. So many different things that I've sold for a lot. You know,
dude.
Like,
but you know what? It's interesting. Mythics. Yeah, it's interesting to see in terms of what's happened, like historically, because the mythics originally with Decentraland, before the whole community contribution release, they were selling for like 20, 25, 30K just for like those hats. Man, they were nuts. But then as soon as there were way more mythics now in circulation, probably like another like 20 sets, none of those previous ones are selling for those kind of values. In fact, if we even get like a 15,000 mana sale, which is quite rare, that's like a big deal. So it does show you at a smaller scale that more release into wearables, if there's no community growth, it does affect the market.
And also, to some people, trading wearables is Decentraland. I mean, some people can't even log into the game, own wearables, and they trade wearables. They're having a blast. I don't know what's wrong with that.
There's different types of assets you can invest into in Decentraland. Mana, land, wearables.
And let me throw a curveball.
You can monetize your scenes and stuff. Yep.
Here comes a curveball. So now imagine if you expose developers to this wearable market, and the developer says, I'm going to take one of the wearables, I'm going to say, if you wear this wearable and play our zombie game, you get an extra bullet or an extra life. And maybe that wearable,
about superpowers.
Yeah, maybe that wearable gains, some external value that otherwise wouldn't be there because a developer said that, hey, with this wearable, you get new abilities in a particular game.
Yeah,
I like that.
Yeah, that would be great.
Yeah,
so there's like a really good game company. If there's a really good game company that's building awesome games, and they could also have, because of them building those really cool games, they can have a strong wearables brand because they're releasing these wearables, and instead of just having the utility of wearing them, you use them in game.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like if I were a casino visor,
that could hold value.
Extra spin.
Yeah. The same token, some wearables would be maybe just style. You know what I mean, some sort of thing that everybody just like. They like that style, cool. They like that, and then there's other ones that give you, like, let's say, superpowers or whatever you want to call it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think there's room for all kinds of different things in that market. With there's going to be more users, and then more users going to decide what they want. You know what I
mean? Yeah, definitely. I think personally, I'm most excited to just be able to use them as like an incentive mechanism for participation. And I think that's like the model that Decentraland, I mean, we talked about this last weekend, but I think that's the model that Decentraland kind of proved that was really powerful. And, people, like, there were so many users like during the launch events just because they were just trying to scavenge all of the chests, and I think, running competitions constantly, like with anyone who has a game who is able to potentially print or mint wearables, they could use that like every single week doing some type of competition where they'd give it away, and it would just incentivize so many more users to come on.
Another thing I'm not against is having a whole bunch of, like, as the game goes along, all right, let's say now just mythics don't come around that often. Legendaries start to come around less and less. And then you have a whole bunch more of wearables that there's a lot more of that we can just kind of use. Okay, now, and also, like, another thing I really want to see in wearable is the ability to change colors of object. So like, if there's a shirt, you know, like a green shirt, that you can change it any color. You know, that should be something that we. I don't think it's that hard. I think you just got to make it grayscale and then.
Yeah,
do it
like
that way.
like how Hodel had those black Bitcoin glasses.
No, but no, just
show.
like completely pick the color, any color you want.
Yeah,
you know, and like the skin on the body is like that. Like you code it when you do it in Blender, you make it grayscale. So instead of that, if you can make shirts like that and then just like have them change color, I think that would be something that would be good for the in general.
Oh, just watching Will trying to get in position.
Wait, you taking a picture, Will?
Yeah, we're just messing around with the meme boards.
Yeah, I see. See, that's what I'm saying. Y'all are both turned.
Oh man, I didn't get it
in the right way.
Did it
like, Will, you're turning around, Maddie, on that. Like, but it's still fun. It's a fun project. Man. That's right.
I actually got a really good one. It's actually pretty funny.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, I mean, I like these things a lot, actually.
Oh man, but something like this. What I realized is, I think we're trying to figure out how to get people back to our lands, right? Mm-hmm. And what I've realized is the more elements of interactivity you have there, not necessarily the scale of interactivity, but the more levels of it that you have. So, for example, Frankie's Land, we have a visual experience, then we have an audible experience. Mm-hmm. We're chatting, so we might have a video experience, and then you might be able to mess around with pixel boards and stuff. So there's more little experiences where it's kind of, how do I say it? It's kind of like using different senses. So there's more, not just like if you were just to have a ton of interactive stuff here, people will get bored. But the fact that you can listen, interact, talk to us while we're on the podcast, or do all these different things, I think that's what makes it valuable to be in Frankie's Land right now. That's why you're seeing people being there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So people building in the future, if they were to have these kind of like different elements of experiences, I think that will be a lot in terms of bringing people back.
Yeah, I totally agree with that, and that's one of the things that Iman and I and Oscar we talk about a lot, Corv, and we feel like that gets accomplished through developers creating that unique experience. And like what Frankie did was like pretty amazing because he was able to get this like audio live feed pretty quickly as soon as it was launched, and like look at the return on that investment. Like this is getting more traction than probably any parcel within Decentraland at the moment. Mm-hmm. The only parcels that get more action is anytime that Decentraland tweets something for like an event. I mean, then you got like 50 people versus the 15 that we have here.
Mm.
Yeah, which I want to say really quick. Just a big thanks to whoever's running the Decentraland Twitter. I feel like they've been a lot more active on Twitter, and they're promoting a lot more of our little events that we're really pushing. It was really awesome to see them get behind the fashion show, and they got behind the Vegas or whatever the event was on Friday, and tweeting out little videos that people are posting. I think it's really cool that they're becoming more active on Twitter.
We got to take advantage of
that real quick.
Yeah, definitely. We got to take advantage of the fact that we have a real photogenic world too. You know what I mean?
It's true.
And on social media, it really works. You know what I'm saying? People are going to look at it. It's like a real eye popping. There's a lot of colors. So I think that's something that we can take advantage of. Just the thought of that. Just like, if you take a picture, put it online, somebody's going to look at it because it pops out.
I agree, man. Yeah. Totally agree.
So on that note, so we're 2 hours into this. I think we should bring it to a close. Just want to thank everybody for coming again, and this is a great talk. I mean, I think what we're doing here is pretty important, and anyone who wants to jump in is open to jump in and conversate with us. So thank you guys, and let's do this again next week.
Definitely.
Alrighty.
All right, thanks everybody for coming out to my land, man. I appreciate y'all. All the time.
So next, it's by the way, I just wanted to say this is every week at this time. So for whoever's here,
we're definitely going to be doing these.
Just jump in at this time.
Yep, absolutely.
Cool, guys.
And even more. So anyway, let's cut it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Manny, I'm ready for my photo.
All right, y'all.
Let's chat next week.